Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Monday, November 25th, 2019. One of the top headlines this evening is the body of a young woman was found in Alabama, and they believe it is the daughter of Walt Harris, the UFC fighter. And I first covered this story October 24th when the news broke that she had disappeared. A lot of people who watched that video were very offended and left all sorts of nasty remarks. What I explained in that video is we would eventually get this headline that this young woman was murdered, and it would be another Masonic ritual. And I talked extensively about how the news came on her father's 137th day of her age, while his record in the UFC was 13-7, like 137, the 33rd prime number. And these are very special numbers to Freemasonry. Today is a span of 33 days since the news broke October 24th, and it's not an accident that the authorities, who are the police, who are the government, found the body on this day. Authority in Gematria, the Masonic code of letters and numbers, equals 137. 137 is the 33rd prime. Police equals 33. So does Masonry. So does secrecy. So does order. So again, let's just go through all of this, and I hope that if you are new here, whenever you watch this video, you don't just dismiss this as so many people do. Because the reality is, I've been explaining what's going on in the world for 6 years straight with non-stop evidence, correct prediction after correct prediction, and somehow, some way, this hasn't gone viral, and somehow billions of English-speaking people don't know about this yet, because really they should in the information age. I mean, we've predicted too many things correctly, right on the nose, from ritual murders to what would come into the news, to mass shootings, to sports championships, because again, secret societies control this world. They control government, media, police, and they operate by a code of letters and numbers, which is known as Gematria, which comes from Kabbalah. Again, in Kabbalah's Book of Formation, it's stated that God created the world with letters, numbers, and words. This is how the people who think they're God control the world, doing things, like taking lives, things that are supposed to be in God's hands. Anyhow, let's go over this and review all the details piece by piece. So, October 24th, the day the news broke. November 25th, the day the body's found, a span of 33 days. And again, to go to her father, Walt Harris, his birthday is June 10th. When the news broke, it was his 137th day of his age, which is the 33rd prime. His current record in the UFC is 13-7, and we'll talk about why in his next fight he will very likely go 14-7. We'll get to that piece again. But notice he's also 36 years old. Today, the day the body's found, November 25th, is the day leaving 36 days left in the year. Plus it's 11/25. 11 plus 25, 36, November 25th. Remember what 36 is. It's the number that has the mathematical connection to 666, the number of the beast. When you add 1 through 36 together, it equals 666. 666 is the 36th triangular number. So, police, Masonry, secrecy, order, all 33. Again, 137 is the 33rd prime number. Those are numbers that can only be divided by one in themselves. Numbers that show strength and power. The Masonic text written by the Scottish Rite Freemason Albert Pike, Morals and Dogma. Within that book, he says Masonry is based in Kabbalah. That was a secret revealed at the time, now something known for some time. And again, other things that some do 137 include authority and government. And the news is the authorities found the body. And you know why the authorities found the body on the perfect day? Because the authorities knew where the body was the whole time. This stuff goes on all the time. The exact same patterns, the exact same numbers, the exact same rituals. And people want to come and say, well, I don't think it's Freemasonry. Well, really? You don't? You don't think it's Freemasonry, huh? You don't think it's the people that have their headquarters in the federal city, Washington, D.C., which is named after the Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. The building with the 33 pillars on the outside. The secret society that's a death cult. Don't forget that in Hebrew, Kabbalah sums to 137. Again, that's where this whole practice comes from. So with regards to her being found in Alabama, remember that big number with Alabama is 13. And from her father's 36th birthday to the body being found today is 169 days, which has a square root of 13. 13 times 13 is 169. He's on currently 13 wins in the UFC. Alabama 13. The whole ritual's perfectly synced up. And like I said, the day she disappeared on a date with 73 and 46 numerology. The word sacrifice is 73 and 46. This news came just before his fight that was scheduled with Alistair Overeem, which has been canceled for now, but I'm sure they'll end up having this fight eventually. It's been momentarily postponed. Sacrifice also sums to 62. If you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers. The alphabetic order. Let me just type in sacrifice so you can see how this works. The alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. For years, I just taught with these ciphers. I didn't know about the reverse alphabetic order, but then I learned more. The reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. All 4 of these ciphers, very important. These first 2, maybe slightly more important. But again, she disappeared on a date with 73 and 46 numerology, and also 6 weeks and 2 days before his scheduled fight, which has now been momentarily canceled. Well, looks like we have a shooting in the news too. So, again, he's 13 and 7 currently. We covered that. The news broke on his 137th day of his age. The way they announce his name in UFC, Walt the Big Ticket Harris sums to 139, like the Bavarian Illuminati, like Freemasonry, like America. Remember, the Bavarian Illuminati infiltrated the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. They're pretty much one and the same thing. By the way, 139 is the 34th prime number. Murder equals 34. She disappeared on October 24th. 10 plus 24, 34. 139, 34th prime. His upcoming fight with Alistair Overeem, which has now been postponed, his name's 233, the 13th Fibonacci number. Alabama, again, 13, where she disappeared and her body's now been found on her father's 169th day of his age, square root 13. From his last fight to the day his daughter disappeared was 96 days. Freemason is 96. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Freemason's 147, like Ultimate Fighting Championship, what UFC stands for. Her name was Ania Haley Blanchard, which sums to 147. When Walt Harris fights his next fight, I would fully expect him to become 14 and 7. This is what these rituals are done for. You know? Not that they need to be done, but this is how the psychopaths who run the show, this is how they operate. This is what they make their entertainers do. You know, you want to be rich, you want to be famous, well, nothing's free. The name Walt Harris also happens to sum to 48, like Freemason, like Illuminati. From his last fight to the day she disappeared, it was 96 days later. It was also 3 months and 4 days, like Murder's 34. You could also say it was a span of 97 days. And again, death is 97. And this is why when I put out this video on October 24th, I said this would be the likely outcome of this story. That you'd read about this young woman's body being recovered. Also pointed out, from the day she disappeared to the scheduled date of his upcoming fight was 44 days, another number that shows up around death and murder. We also talked about the 6 weeks and 2 days, because sacrifice is 62, but kills 44, executions 44. You know, A lot of people, when they saw this, they said, "You're a sick person to say this is going to happen." No, I'm not a sick person. I'm trying to show you what sick people are doing. I'm trying to show the people of this world who give their money to these leagues and pay for merchandise and tickets to go to these events, what's going on behind the scenes, what ultimately you're contributing to out of your ignorance. You know? You want to pay money to go to a sports game? Just realize the people who run the sports leagues, they murder people. Again, listen to that song, Murder by Numbers. Killing the sport of the elite. That's who controls the world of entertainment and sports, the elite. You know? That's why they overcharge to stay rich and powerful. Because under the mind control, they know you'll pay for that overpriced sports ticket. Not only will you pay for that, you'll go in there and you'll pay $20 a beer. You'll pay $10 for a tub of popcorn, which costs 25 cents to make. It's all mind control. They just know. They got you. So anyway, the date of the fight that was now scheduled, it was December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, 127. Special numbers, executions 127, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry's 127, Bavarian Illuminati's 127. They came out and blamed this incident on a guy named Ibrahim Yazid. Guarantee you a patsy, possibly not even a real person. And for all of you who think because they put an image in the news that you're seeing a real person, again, just a reminder, go to this website, this person does not exist, and just realize every time I refresh the screen, I get a picture of a new person. You see this? Every time I refresh it, I get a new person. You know what all these people have in common? They don't exist. They're not real. They're computer-generated images. You know? There's a young Ibrahim Yazid. There's Ibrahim Yazid's mother. You know? Etc., etc. So... okay, almost looks like me. All right, anyway. And realize we'd already talked about these numbers before this even came out. You know, this supposed patsy responsible for the murder. And if he is a real person, he's probably just the person who got framed. And also the upcoming fight on December 7th, 127, it's against Alistair, another 127. Named almost reminds you of Aleister Crowley, who was a practitioner of Kabbalah and Gematria. So. And by the way, the date of that fight was a date with 57 numerology. Scottish Rite's also 57, so was Walt Harris. So just like we said from day one, you know, you would get this headline. It was clear to see that this is what was in the numbers. And sure enough, the latest tragic details revealed by the exact pattern we spoke about from the beginning. So... and I'll also remind you who runs the UFC. It's Rahm Emanuel's brother, who is a hardcore Zionist. And again, if you look at who controls the majority of the world of sports, leagues, teams, they're Zionists. And again, some of these people, they go by the Talmud. And in the Talmud, it's stated that non-Jews are an animal species, not good enough to be considered human. Only Jews are human. Everyone else is an animal. And also in that text, it does state that Jews have the right to kill Goyim. Now, that said, I realize that a lot of Jewish entertainers are killed by this same code, so it doesn't really seem to matter if you're Jewish or not. But still, the people who are, you know, responsible for this, just connect the dots. Gematria is a Jewish practice. Kabbalah is Jewish mysticism. You know? I don't think there's any other holy text in the world, if you can call it that, a holy text, the Talmud, that says anything that's just so, you know, horrible, evil. And again, it's why no other religion needs something like the ADL behind it to cover up for the reality of the situation. So, We'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Until next time.